All right, well, welcome everybody. Today we're talking about service for a buyer. I have to find the handout link that I had before and share it, which is just another thing to do to keep me on my toes. So I'm going to be putting it into the chat, and then we're going to talk about it. And we're recording this for posterity, or for those of you with insomnia. And I don't know if my assistant is logged in, but maybe it is. What we're talking about is working with the buyer. So the process, for those of you, interested, is you have conversations with people. And the conversations are about, are you interested in buying or investing in real estate? And then and in order to have those conversations, well, you're going to need to learn scripts. You're going to need to know what to say. You're going to need what's going on in the market. It would be useful if you actually knew what was happening in your real estate market. How would you do that? How would you know that? Well, one thing you could do is you could, preview properties, right? You could go and look at properties that are on the market. If you like to do that with a group of people and it's a convenient time, wherever you are, your local association has what are called marketing meetings. Sometimes they're called broker tours. Sometimes they're called caravans. They operate a little bit differently. And you go to a room, you give them a $5 usually. You throw in your business card. They give you a high carbohydrate breakfast snack. There's coffee, there's tea. They have speeches about what's going on in the market. The lenders talk about, oh, there's a new thing for first-time home buyers, useful stuff oftentimes. And then agents all go and look at property, right? And so now you're seeing property that is on the market. It's important that you have an idea of what's happening in your real estate market. This is sometimes referred to, well, at least I call it that, your instant recollection inventory. So if somebody says to you, I can remember I was checking out of a grocery line, and I oftentimes wear stuff, and the person that was handling the checking looks at me and says, "Oh, how's the real estate market?" Now, by the way, you should expect to be asked that question. And before you're winging it in front of somebody, it would be a good idea to maybe plan what you're going to say. And I said, great, it's fantastic. There are a lot of opportunities. And I said to her, I just saw, because it actually wasn't my listing, I just saw this condominium. It's in a good neighborhood. It's a great starter home. Who do you know that's looking to buy their first home? And she said, I am. And I didn't sell her that house, but I sold her another one, right? And I actually did know of a nice starter home in a good neighborhood that I could have driven her right there. I could have described it. If somebody is saying, well, grandma's going to be moving in with us and we're going to need to move into a bigger house and we're having another child. And I can remember one of those. And I said, I just saw this property. It's a 2-story, 5-bedroom. 4 bedrooms upstairs, master, plus 3 other bedrooms, a hall, bath upstairs. Downstairs, there's a full bedroom, full bath, and a guest bath. So people don't have to use grandma's bathroom. And they said, great, we want to see it, right? And they actually did buy that one. So, the question is, how many kinds of properties, have you seen any fixer-uppers? How many kinds of properties could you instantly describe to somebody that you met at a coffee shop or something else that are in your market? And if the answer is, well, the only house I'm familiar with is the one I live in, because I haven't seen any of the others, that might help, right? It might help that you actually go out and look at some other properties. So there's a minimum amount of software that you need to become good with. One is the multiple listing service. Now, I'm going to actually show you what I do. I have some active buyers right now, And I'll show you what I've done with, so the spreadsheets and things like that that I use in the system that I use. And most of the multiple listing services software is relatively the same. I keep seeing things flashing. Everybody, I assume, can hear my voice. Yes, okay. Do
Yes,
I
we can
look
hear you.
better? Do I look clearer? I got a new webcam.
Yes, Michael, it looks nice.
All right, thank you. Some people have already told me that they like the blurry version better, but it's on a,
You too.
yeah. So what software is used in the multiple listing service? MLS listings, excuse me, Matrix. Who uses Matrix? And Matrix is a brand, right? MLS listings uses Matrix. CRMLS uses Matrix. What else? Paragon, again, another brand. That's Bridge, Alameda, Contra Costa County. San Diego MLS has Paragon. What else? Rapatoni. Who uses Rapatoni? San Francisco Association of Realtors, Barris, Solano, Sonoma, Petaluma, and Metrolist uses Rapatoni. I think that the LA Claw MLS uses Flex. I'm not as familiar with it, but most of these MLS software programs are more similar than they are different. So one of the things that you're going to need to learn if you're going to be an effective agent, able to provide good service to a prospective buyer, what you're going to need is to know how to use the multiple listing service. And you see, I know what happens because I, talk to a lot of real estate agents, not you guys, because you guys are on it. That's why you're coming to these classes, but what a lot of times happens is the agent doesn't do anything, doesn't learn anything until they have a buyer. And then they're like, why should I learn how to use the multiple listing service? I don't have any buyers, right? Why should I learn how to write an offer? I don't have any buyers. Why should I, right? You get the, I'm not going to keep beating that, but you get the idea. And then there's panic because now they're flailing around and how do I create an auto alert? I don't know how to create an auto alert. I don't know how to send them listings. All of those software programs I mentioned are nationally used. It's not just little MLSs that use them. They're used all over the United States. If you went to this special place, right, which is called Google search, and you typed in, how do I create an auto alert Matrix? How do I create an auto alert Paragon? How do I create an auto alert Rapatoni? Guess what you're going to find? Videos, articles, demonstrations. I actually had an agent tell me, well, yeah, I found this one that was explaining how to do this in Matrix, but it was from a Texas Association of Realtors. Now, you understand that's like saying, I want to learn PowerPoint, but the person who made the video is in New Jersey. So, well, New Jersey, is New Jersey PowerPoint different from, no, it's the same, pretty much exactly the same software. So those are some of the things you're going to need to know. Now, I've provided you an outline and I am going to get to it at some point, but and I believe I pasted it in, and so I'm assuming that when others come in and say, where's the handout? Angela will be right on that, right? I'm sure. And so what am I going to do? How about here? How about here? All right. So this is what it looks like. Now, I'm assuming that before you're really heavily involved in working with a buyer, you've actually had a buyer consultation. It's kind of become a requirement. It was something you always should have done. I've done several in the last few weeks, always on Zoom. Both of the buyers could have come and saw me. In fact, in the past, one of them actually drove to Morgan Hill to talk to me, but Zoom worked just fine. And you need to make sure, are they pre-approved? This is a recurring issue where they have a buyer and the buyer says that they're committed and they're serious. Well, but they don't want to get pre-approved yet, right? Now, you might want to partner, the lender can answer some of these questions, but a lot of times they don't want to get pre-approved because they don't want the credit run and they think they're being committed and whatever, but they need to understand that if they're not pre-approved, they're probably not going to buy a house. And pre-approval doesn't occur instantly. It usually takes several days. They want to see proof that you're employed. They want to see that you actually have any money, right? And so it could take several days to get pre-approved. And one of them, they found a house, they like the house, they want to make an offer on the house, but they're not pre-approved. Now, if you were a seller, would you accept an offer from a buyer if the buyer could not prove they could afford to buy your house? Would you do it? Would you change the status from active to contingent? Would you stop doing open houses? Would you? No, they're not going to do that because they're unlikely to take that risk if you're not pre-approved. Now, the way I say this to a buyer is that getting pre-approved is going to save you thousands and thousands of dollars when you buy a home. How would that be? Well, let's say you're a seller and you get two offers and they're otherwise identical. Both of them are $800,000, same contingencies, whatever, but one of the offers is from a pre-approved buyer and the other offer is from a buyer that says, I'll get to it soon. Which offer would the seller take? Well, obviously, they're going to take the one that's pre-approved. Well, let's say that the one that's not pre-approved says, I'll offer you, I know I can do it. I'm confident I'll offer you $10,000 more. Would a seller take the risk for $10,000? No. Okay, 20,000. No. 30,000. No. The biggest gap I've seen is where we got two offers and one of them was $80,000 more than the other, but the buyer was not pre-approved. And the seller said, look, I'm making more money than I ever thought I would on the sale of this house. And these guys, it looks great. They don't even have a loan contingency, right? Why don't they have a loan contingency? They're pre-approved. So you've heard that this is a balance of price and terms, right? You've heard that. The more contingencies you can remove as a buyer, the better price you're going to get. And, well, you're just more likely to be able to buy the house. So again, even if everybody submits a pre-approval letter, because a lot of pre-approvals from a lot of lenders are not real, right? And so you've submitted an offer on my listing and you claim to have a pre-approved buyer, but you have a loan contingency. And the other buyer who also is pre-approved has no loan contingency. Which one am I going to take? Well, I'll take the one without the loan contingency. And I'm going to be asking the one with the loan contingency, if you're really pre-approved, why do you need a loan contingency? Right. Appraisal, right? That's a different thing. Investigation, that's a different. Does everybody get this? And if they say, no, I don't want to do it, this is not a serious buyer. And sometimes they have to lose a house they want in order for they have to be hit in the head with a 2x4 before they realize this isn't going to work. I need to get pre-approved, right? My buyer consultation, I frame it as we're going to talk about strategies for you to get the best deal possible when you're buying a home in a market like we're in today. That's how I label my buyer consultation. What is one strategy that would allow the buyer to get a better deal on buying a home today? It's not just getting pre-approved, it's getting really pre-approved, which means underwritten, which means that you could close in a couple of weeks if you needed to, and you can make an offer without a loan contingency. Who ends up winning a bidding war? The highest non-contingent offer. That's who wins the bidding war. The highest non-contingent offer. All right. So, defining search criteria. Now, in the buyer representation and broker compensation agreement, you're supposed to write down areas. You're not supposed to just say California. You can modify that. And I have buyers right now they're looking in San Mateo, Santa Cruz, Santa Clara, and Alameda, southern Alameda counties. So I've written in all of those areas. And you may have heard me say this, but I'm going to say it again. I say to buyers that there are three factors when you're choosing a house, and you have control over two of them. And the third will be picked by what you do with the other two. And the three factors are price, location, and property characteristics. If you say, I want to live in, I only am interested in Fremont, Union City, and Newark. Okay. Location, you're not going to budget. No, that's an absolute candidate. All right. What's your price range? Well, it's $1 million. So, okay, let's stop there because don't tell me you need a 5-bedroom house, right? You're not going to get one. I don't actually say it that way. I, by the way, show the buyer, and I like Zoom better because it's easier for me to share my screen. I run those two criteria. Fremont, Union City, Newark, single family home. That's what you want. Under $1 million. This is what comes up. And by the way, I picked single family condo townhome. And then they look at the list and they're mostly condos and townhomes. Well, I want a 4-bedroom single family house. People in hell want ice water. I want me to give you my list of things that I want. I want to be a size 32 waist again. Yeah, I do. It's on my list, right? But that's probably not going to happen either. You see, if you're solid on this is the only location I'm interested in and I have a maximum price of this, those two factors are going to determine what kind of property you can buy. And if somebody, well, I don't care, I want for under $1 million, a 4-bedroom single family home in Warm Springs, well, this is maybe not a serious buyer. I show them on the MLS what they get to pick. Now, if they say it's got to be a single family home, it's got to have 4 bedrooms, and I can only afford $1 million, now I'm showing them where you could buy a house like that, which is probably not where they said they wanted to be. Have you ever considered Hollister? How about that? Salinas? How about that? Because you're not going to find that in Santa Clara County. You're just not. So we educate them. We explain the process. One of the things you really need to talk to them about is third-party websites. And when I get into how do you conduct a search, and I'm going to show you and what I would do if I were showing the property and all of that, one of the things you're going to realize is that your real estate agent website, and this doesn't matter really. Actually, eXp has more because we're one large broker that's a member of a bunch of MLSs. But even with our website or Keller Williams website or Coldwell Banker's website or Antero's website, you're basically seeing on your website the listings in your multiple listing service. Now, if you're in Southern California, where there are several MLSs, or in the Bay Area, where there's even more, there's a lot of overlap where we see listings in San Jose that are put there by MetroList or Barris. And in Southern California, you have San Diego, and you have CRMLS, and you have CLAW, the combined Los Angeles MLS. And so your agent website is not a good search engine. Well, what about the MLS? My MLS searches a whole bunch of them. Yeah, but they don't search them all. And if you look at the Northern California Alliance shows you the counties that share data, there are a lot of counties that don't share data with us. Fresno, a bunch of them don't. So if there's a listing in San Jose that was listed by an agent outside of the area and not in a data share county, it does not appear on your MLS search. Same thing is true in Southern California. You're thinking, well, CRMLS and MLS and San Diego MLS, those are the big ones. There are still listings that are in your area that are not data shared areas, right? Not from data shared areas. Everybody understand the problem. So who's got all of the listings? Zillow, Redfin, Homes.com, Realtor.com. How is it that they have all the listings? They've joined every MLS. Why don't we do that? I can't answer that question. I can't. Right. But anyhow, so one of the things that I recommend that you do is that in addition to setting up a search in your MLS, set up a search in Zillow. And you look and see, are there any listings coming up in the Zillow search that are not coming up in my MLS search? And if there are, those are strategic properties because most real estate agents are not going that far. Right, many, they're not looking for out of the area, non-data share listings. They're only looking at what's easy on their MLS. I've heard agents tell a buyer, oh, that property you sent me in Zillow, it's not actually for sale. Oh, really? Yes, I looked in the MLS, it's not listed. And I'm thinking, oh my God, no, it is for sale. It's just not in your MLS. So if they have Zillow on their phone and you're not going to keep them from using it. It's not going to work, right? You can beg them, threaten them. They're still going to look. So what I do is I already acknowledge this. I don't say we don't have all the listings, but I say I realize that, you might have Zillow and Redfin and Realtor.com and a whole bunch of different ones because you don't want to miss anything. I understand. But what I want you to know is that when you find a property on Zillow, Redfin, etc., and you are interested and you see a picture of a real estate agent and their contact information, and it says to get more information or to arrange a showing, contact, Irvin, right? And you might be thinking that that agent is actually the listing agent or somebody with inside knowledge. It's not. It's somebody like in Zillow and somebody that has paid for advertising space. That's it. They don't know any more about the property than I do. So what I'm asking you to do is that when you see something like that, do a screenshot with your phone, text it to me. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to find out all about the property, showing instructions, what we need to do to go look at it. I'm going to get you copies of a disclosure. And before I show any house, I run a RPR, Realtors Property Resource Market Analysis, before I show any house. And I did this not because I'm brilliant, because eventually I learned. Right? I can remember showing a house, and it was a 1 bedroom, 3 bath, 1 story, excuse me, not 1 bedroom, 1 story, 3 bath house, 3 bedroom house. And I'm meeting the buyer there, and right next door is a 2 story house. Obviously more bedrooms, and there's a for sale sign. And I'm like, uh-oh, because I didn't look at any of the anything else. I didn't look at anything else. And so what do you think the buyer said? Oh, how much is that one? Now I learned to take RPR has a mobile app, which I also, if I'm showing property, I have made sure I'm logged in and I take it with me. It's geographically based, which means I open up that app, I look at it, it shows me based upon my location, all the properties that have sold, are for sale, that are in that geographic area, price, all that sort of stuff. And I can remember showing a condominium and the buyer saying, so what do these properties generally sell for? And I'm like, I don't know. See, all I had done is run active listings so I could go show them. You mean I should have run pendings and recent close? Oh, that's a good idea. Maybe then I would know something. So before I show a property, I run an RPR report and I show them everything that's happened at least within a quarter of a mile of that property. And if there's disclosures, inspections, and reports, I get them and I share them before I show the property. Just thought and so this is a little script about getting them to commit that they're going to take the screenshot and send it to you. It's possible that someone that's listening to my voice, how many people are listening to my voice now? Oh, not too bad. is thinking, well, wait a second, I've got them to sign a buyer representation agreement. So what do I care that they talk to the Zillow person? I've got them locked in, right? Well, you may not, many of you, some of you, might have set up buyers on auto alerts without a buyer representation agreement. You don't need the buyer representation agreement to set up an auto alert. You need it to show the property. So a lot of your buyers are free agents still when you're sending them auto alerts. Oh, but I got them to sign a buyer representation agreement. Okay. What if they just buy the property without you? What are you going to do? If it's a non-exclusive buyer representation agreement, they'll just cancel it. Even if well, I'm going to get them to sign an exclusive one so they can't cancel. Okay, so what's the plan? They buy a property without you. You're going to sue them? Is that what you're going to do? Get a lawyer? Well, as I think I pointed out last week, salespeople don't have the right to do that. Only the broker can. So you would have to go to your broker and convince the broker to hire a lawyer to sue a buyer for buying a house that you never showed them. Good luck. Let's say, oh, my broker, he said he would do it. She's a tough one. All right. So maybe they do hire a lawyer. Do you think a judge is going to award you a commission on a house that you never even showed or negotiated with the buyer on? The chances are slim, right? Does everybody understand that? What would work a lot better is that if we had the conversation and we got their commitment and they shouldn't be telling you about houses that they're interested in. You should be telling them about houses that they're interested in. All right, let's say, all right, enough of that. Let's say, this is what MLS listings matrix looks like. Ours looks a little bit different than CRMLS, but it functions pretty much the same. Notice all the beautiful stuff, market trends and things like that. All looks pretty cool. So we go up to search. Notice there's different choices. Paragon, I don't know why, but it's an available software program even in my MLS. My comment about Paragon and Rapatoni is that the 1990s have called and they want their software back. That's sort of what I think it looks like. But we're going to go to Matrix because Matrix has the fields. And by the way, one of the things you can do in Matrix is you can add and remove fields. You'll notice I have a tendency to overdo things, but you'll notice I have added a few fields. Right, because what will happen is somebody wants to buy a home and they want to be in a 55 plus community. Then agents will call me up and say, I don't know how to do that. I've been looking in the MLS. I don't see the result. Scroll down, add remove fields here. And I've got that one too. I've got horse properties. I got way too much stuff. But you get the idea. Notice public remarks and private remarks are searchable. You have to have a good match of the words. But anyhow, so you can add fields as you need to. By the way, there are lots of videos on the internet. Your MLS has classes. Your Board of Realtors has classes. The MLS and the Board of Realtors probably both have videos. My MLS is open on Saturdays as well as Monday through Friday. You can call them and ask them questions. You need to learn how to do this. And you should learn how to do this before you have a buyer. It's like going to medical school after you have an operation scheduled. Oh, I better learn how to do a surgery. I got one tomorrow, right? It would be good to do this now and practice. Pick areas that you're interested in and create searches. Create one for yourself so you can see what it looks like. And by the way, if I have a listing, this is off the buyer topic, one of the things that I always do is I create a search for myself around the listing. So if anything becomes active, pending, canceled, expired, withdrawn, sold, closed, anything, I get an email within 15 minutes, so I can contact the owner and say, hey, did you know there's a new listing in your neighborhood? Right? They think I'm working hard, right? So let's say we're going to do this. We're looking for a active listing. Let's say our buyer wants a single family home. They want to live in the beautiful Morgan Hill, Gilroy, San Martin area. You'll notice that you can search by MLS area, city, zip, and county. The zip is here. MLS areas, San Jose has like a dozen MLS areas. Maybe, I don't know, I'd have to count them. They have a lot of them. So Santa Teresa and Evergreen and Alum Rock and Berryessa, these are all, not all, obviously Santa Clara isn't, but these are different areas. And sometimes people are interested in Blossom Valley or Almaden Valley. Now, if you're wondering, well, how would we, figure out what to do and what to send? One of the things that Place has, and I just wanted to show you an example, is Place has a company called Area Pro, which if you're on my Place team, you're going to have access to the software, and you can add, you get access through my team, but you can add different counties, you can add MLS areas, you can add cities. And notice what I wrote in for Santa Clara County. I prompted, what should I tell a first-time homebuyer for Santa Clara County? And it gave me a list. It also gives me other related prompts. What are the best areas in San Jose for a first-time homebuyer? How about that? And it's thinking. And I can only provide in based upon, it's not telling me the exact areas. It's going to tell me what the price ranges are. Well, that's nice. But you can see what it did for the first time. I knew it was dangerous for me to just throw one out there. But it gives me a market overview. It talks about price segmentation, negotiation power. Notice homes are selling for an average of 6.9% above the original listing price in the $2 to $5 million range. Ooh, right? In the under $2 million range, there is a pending ratio of 52%. Now, one of the what I tell buyers about that is that if you see 100 for sale signs, 52 of them are sold. That's what it means. Already been bought, 52. Yeah. So anyhow, you can do, by looking for prices, you can figure out where the properties are within their price range, assuming they've been pre-approved. So there's 101 really in Morgan Hill. So Gilroy and San Martin, but let's say my people only want a 1.2 million. Now you'll notice it's 1200 minus. By putting in the minus, it will give me, if I don't put in the minus, it's only going to show me listings that are exactly 1.2 million. Right? That's all that it's going to show me. So if you say 1.2 minus, then it's going to give you everything. Now, when I'm doing this with my buyer, I usually set a floor. So if we had a floor, because if it's 600,000, there's something wrong, right? If you look at this, but let's say we're looking for something between 900,000 and 1.2 million, all right? 21 properties. Yeah. Yeah. And they want at least 3 bedrooms. That's only 20. Let's be hopeful here and say they want 4 or more bedrooms. Now there's only 11. All right. And they want at least, let's say, 3 full baths, or now we're down to 6. Now, when I'm originally doing this, I would tend to be over-inclusive in terms of the search criteria. I'll show you what I mean. So if they say to me, well, we want a 4-bedroom, 3-bath house, I'd say, cool. So if I were to find you a really nice property in Morgan Hill, it's in the right price range, right neighborhood, looks really good, everything is great, but it only has 3 bedrooms. Are you saying you don't even want to see it? not even, what'll happen is they'll say, well, actually, yeah, I mean, if it's got everything else, we'd like to see it. Oh, so four is a, a guideline, not a rule. All right, so 3+. Because if I do 3+, well, there's more than if I do 4, right? Not a lot more, but there's still more. And if it doesn't have 3 baths, but it's only got 2 baths, is that a deal killer? And they say, well, no, we could probably live with it. All right, 17 matches. Now that's a lot, right? But for setting up a search, that's not too bad. And so what we would do, and this is what I typically do, because sometimes they really want to see, they want to go, is you click on results, and here they all are. What does the M mean? Well, I just highlighted it. Members only. Show. Now, this is different than coming soon. Coming soons, which is what Bridge uses and a lot of the Rapatoni groups and Southern California, coming soon shows up in Zillow. But a members only does not. So any of the properties that I'm showing them with that M are not on Zillow. Oh, right? How many of you have wanted to promise a buyer you could find them properties where they may not have to bid against everybody? How about that one? Why don't all of the buyers know this? Because first of all, most of their agents are told them to look on Zillow, see if you can find a house, go to the open house. When you find one you like, let me know, and I'll write up the offer. Okay, I'm a hardworking real estate agent. Go ahead, let me know. Well, you're not going to ever see any of these because these are only in the MLS. They're not on Zillow. Members only. Show means you could show it. This week, what day is this? This week, my clients are interested in a members only, do not show. And Tuesday morning, it went from do not show to show. Tuesday morning. And it says in the MLS, the house is a mess and it's not really ready. But yeah, by Tuesday evening, it had gone to pending status. Pending means somebody made an offer without contingencies. Someone just walked in and said, look, don't fix anything, don't clean anything. This is our offer. They made a strong offer and it left the market. It never made it to Zillow. Never made. Never made. So my buyers are saying, how come we didn't see it? And I told them that we need to go and look at the properties they're really interested in, like right away. If you wait to the weekend, they're gone. The good deals are gone. By the way, part of my strategies for how to get the best deal when you're buying a home in my buyer consultation is to tell them when you see something, we have to go see it right away. Don't wait. Because if it's a good deal, it's not going to last. And by the way, they can't do that effectively without an agent. Because I got a lockbox key. If the listing agent doesn't want to show the property, they're not going to be paid anything. I mean, okay. So let's say that here are the active listings. I hear noises in my roof again, and hopefully it'll last. So what I typically do if I have a buyer is I would start by selecting them all, and I go down to email, and I am going to I know, why is it? I know I want this to go away. Stop, go away, go away. Um, I have a obnoxious program sometimes that will I want it to stop. Here, let me do this. It's not gonna stop. So let you're not going to have the problem with the pop-up. If you don't have a contact, you would click on a new contact and you'd put in your information. I'm going to cancel this. Subject would be something where if I'm going to send it to them, like I'm assuming, by the way, that this is them, right? Not me, right? Here, let me do this. So it's coming back to me. So here are some of the ones that I have going on right now. Isn't that nice? And so if somebody was there and I wanted to, here, I'll just do that. You'd pick it. It would be nice if they're in there. There it is. If it's a buyer, I might copy myself, but I might not. I could also just do that and they'll send me a copy. And I usually just say properties to look at, and then I say, because I'm lazy, something like learn to type, check these out. Right? I mean, I don't, because I'm just sending them the list, and when I'm done, and if I hit a preview, it's going to show me what it's going to look like. This is what it looks like. This is what they're going to get. Looks nice. Right? It's got information. If I'm happy with that, I would click send. Now, I'm not going to do that because I get too many of these things. What that's going to do is it would send the client all of those active listings. But let's go back. The other thing that I would do, now that I've saved them all, and I send the email right away so they have it right away, but I would then go down and notice where it says save. And one of the choices is a new auto email. The speed bar shortcut doesn't work. A saved search means that I have that search pinned on my dashboard in the MLS. So if I were farming, or I'm a Morgan Hill, this is called South County, I'm a South County specialist, I might create a search of actives and pendings and recent sales all in South County and save that on the MLS. I just click on it. But if I click on new auto email, notice it's already written me a nice letter. I go through, I pick out the person, subject, I would properties to look at. Notice it's written a nice little thing. And then and by the way, I go through this with the client on the Zoom call. Our two choices are ASAP or daily. How serious are they about buying a house? How serious are they about getting the best deal possible? What if they say we're really serious? Well, then we want you to see anything that matches our search criteria as soon as it comes on the market. And by the way, as soon as it comes on the market means it does this like in 15 minutes. Listing hits in 15 minutes, it's sending an email saying, hey, there's another listing. Right? Hey, look at this. Right? And then you also might want to make sure that you get a copy so that, and so because you can set up more than one recipient. You can put yourself in, you can carbon copy yourself. It already knows it's me, so it's not asking me that. And then when you hit save, it then creates a portal. And what it sends an email to the buyer and it says, hey, Mike has created this portal for you. It's really cool. Check it out. Now, if you want to know what does that look like, well, it looks a little bit like this, but let's say we're going to go back here. We're going to cancel that. Are there any questions so far?
Michael, I just have a quick question. Are there API calls for the MLS if we want to integrate it with other programs?
Sort of. For those of you that are, an API stands for Application Protocol Interface. And it's a way of taking something from one site and putting it in another one. Does that work with your MLS? Probably not that easy, but it's possible. If you were to go to, and I don't know about your particular MLS, but my MLS has something called a store. And one of the things that you can buy is, and it costs like $30 a month, or there's different varieties, but you can buy a search widget that works with your MLS that they give you the HTML code. And you can drop it in. I have put them in Google Sites and things like that. But then your KV Core has one, but the answer is, yeah, you can buy code. It's not really an API, but it's a HTML code, and it creates a little search widget that you can use. They also
Got
have
it. Thank you.
home subdivisions.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Cool. So what does this look like? All right. So let's say I want to see what the portal looks like and from a client. If I go to My Matrix and I go to auto emails, this is showing you some of the ones. This guy's not looking recently, but you can see some of the ones. And some of these I did, like you'll see the ones that Mardell and Red Oak and K is a listing. And so I've set something up that if anybody lists anything or does anything within the vicinity of that listing, it sends me something. And these were two properties that were in a members only or something where essentially they wanted me to just watch over it. And so I'm going to pick on, how about this one here? And when I click on this, it shows me a bunch of different things, including open in portal and results. Now, I kind of like the results first. I'll show you why, and then I'll open it in the portal, because here look at all the M's. Look at all these members only, do not show, do not show, do not show, right? That's what the red line show. Now, notice there's a heart here. It's not a Valentine's Day heart, just it means they like it. And if I wanted to see, because in the portal, and I put a description of this in my handout, the clients can heart and they can say, this is a favorite, we're interested, we're not interested, whatever. Well, let's say I wanted to see all the ones they've hearted, because there's a lot of properties. There's a lot of properties in this, only 127, right? It's a broad area. If I click on this little folder icon, there are the ones that they've hearted right at the top. And the ones with the little, thing is their possibilities. So if I want to see which ones have they said they really like, I just click on that, there they are. I know which ones they're looking at. Yeah, I know which ones. Some of them 1 day on market. I wouldn't wait too long, right? I think they've learned that from the last time we did it. So if I wanted to see what does it look like portal, this looks like the other one. This is what they're seeing. These are messages. These are saved and disliked, and I can do searches and things I can look at it, but this is what they get to see, and you can see they can heart it if they want to. I could heart it for them. And because I've spent a little bit of time to trick out the portal banner, it looks like that. Questions?
Hi, Michael. Is there a way to send some sort of clients in our database a list of things that they like in place, like we do in KV Core?
Yes, and it's a better search, but we're working on getting all that.
Okay.
The KV Core is limited to just the MLS, like you're in MLS listings, it's limited to MLS listings, CR MLS, and a South Tahoe one, right? I don't know why, but it's limited. If you look at the bottom of your KV Core website, it'll say which ones. I'm not going to do that because I think I've changed where that URL points. Not sure of that, but if you do that, It doesn't include San Francisco Association of Realtors listings in San Jose, doesn't include North County listings in San Jose, doesn't include Alameda and other, in other words, if an agent in Contra Costa County lists a property in San Jose, it's not on your KV Core website because it's not in your MLS. Now, what we're doing in Brivity, which is the software for Place, is we're joining all of the MLSs. All right, MLS listings, SFAR, Bridge, we're going to be joining the North Valley, the North County, you know, Marin County, Solano, Sonoma, Napa, Mendocino, and Metro List, the big Sacramento and Central Valley MLS, so that in the software that you're going to have on Place, it'll have most of the listings that are available. But your MLS is still stronger at doing this. So we use our websites and things like that, not to replace the MLS, but think of it as bait. And if you have enough hooks with enough, you know, pieces of bait on it that is out there, then, you know, you're going to get more, you catch more fish. Are there chats that I need to reply to? Angelo, are you?
Yes,
Oh.
there's one. Michael, what is your experience with EXP mobile app that clients can download on their phones? How interested are buyers in using it?
I don't use it, and I don't think buyers are interested in using it because, like all, it's connected to just MLS listings. I'll show you. I'll show you. Let me just see if I can pull up my website. Probably not. Here we go. All right. So I'll try and do this quickly, but I have difficulty doing anything quickly. All right, Angela. All right. What I'm
Oh, come on.
working on it. So let's say I want San Jose, California, right? This is it, the city of San Jose. I want it to simply be, and this is a little annoying that I have to do this, but I only want single family homes in San Jose, right? That's all I want. San Jose, single family homes. How many are there? Well, let's just see if I hit search. 271 results. Everybody see that number? All right. So now I go to the MLS, active listings, and I didn't look to see if that was active pending. I'd have to look at that again. Let me look at the filters. Usually it gives you single family, property styles. All right, it gives me a few things. I'll leave it alone. So I'm going to go here, active listings, single family home, city. I have to remember to turn that extension. 363. See that there? 363 are in the MLS. 271 are on my website. Why? Why the big difference? Because there are a lot of listings in the city of San Jose that are listed by agents in the Bridge, Alameda, Contra Costa County MLS, San Francisco Association, North Valley. And so if all I'm using is, and this, by the way, is true if you're at Keller Williams or Century 21 or Coldwell Banker. I mean, if you're using that's the downside, is it's connected just to your MLS. Whereas the MLS includes what's called data share MLSs, which includes most of the Northern California and Southern California big MLSs. So you get better results. By the way, you guys can do this on your own. Go to Zillow and ask Zillow to show you how many single family homes are in the city of San Jose. It'll be a bigger number than what the MLS says. Not a bigger number, but it'll include listings that are from non-data share MLSs. See, that's a big difference, isn't it? In the number of active listings. All right, one more thing. One more. So let's say 363. Let's just do this. Let me just clear this. I'll do it quickly. I swear I'll do it quickly. Active, just active, single family. We want it to be under 1.2 million. We want it to be in Morgan Hill, Gilroy, whatever. There's 33. We want it to have 4 bedrooms. There's 8. All right, so I'm going to be showing homes, let's say this weekend. And then there's 8. So I click on this to see the results. Here they are. This one is the show. And by the way, one of the things that you would do, look at these, ME, that's Metro List. Remember I was saying there is a listing in Morgan Hill that is not in our MLS. ME, Metro List. All the others are MLS listings. Right? That's an example. Now, if I'm going to, by the way, let's just look at it. What you need to do is you need to read the private remarks and you need to read the showing instructions. You also want to see, do they have disclosures? Right? This is where you would get them. And which I would share. If you want to run an RPR report, it's right there. Okay, so let's say these are the 8. We're going to go look at 8, which is a lot. But so here are the 8. Where do we start? Which would be a good start point? Where should I go second? Oh my gosh, I don't really know. So if I go down here to directions, what the program is doing is it's picking what it thinks is a logical starting point, and it's putting all the listings in a logical geographical order. Start with this one, go to that one. That's a logical order. Do we want to meet at a coffee shop? Would I rather start with it? We want to start with the one on the end. Well, you can move it around and change the order. Does everybody see that? Right. So now, do I send this to them? No, I don't. What am I going to do with this? I'm going to keep it in mind. And so, and I'm not going to do all of them, but I would open it up and I would take that address and I would copy it. And this is exactly what I do. I go to Google, I go to Google Calendar, I go to, let's say we're doing this on Saturday, and we're going to start at noon. Let me just drop this down. I don't really want to cancel this. So I'm going to create an event, and I'm going to say, that's the event. It's Saturday. We're going to start at noon. And I'm going to, in the location, put that. And I'm going to, under guests, I'm going to invite the buyers. And I'm going to make this, by the way, 30 minutes. And then I'm going to save it. And then I'm going to go take the second one, and I'm going to create a calendar event that looks like this, starting at 12:30 to 1, address, second one, put it in. Now, when I'm done, I will have created, 8 is a lot, but showing events all the way up and down. And it's in a Google Calendar, which has been emailed to them. The reason I do this is, let's say I'm showing them property and they say, well, let's skip number 3. We've been thinking about it. We really don't want to see it. How do I get, without having to juggle everything around? All I have to do is say, cool, let's start with number 4 on my phone app. I click on the 4th one. There's the address. I click on the address. My car GPS kicks in, tells me exactly how to get there. So I create blocks using Google Calendar of all the properties I'm going to show. It gives them the address. By the way, if I really wanted to, I could add a description. I could add a Google Drive document. I could add stuff. And if you want to see the kinds of things that I add, this is an example of I sold one of these houses, $4 million. And this shows, I created a Google sheet, which I shared with the client. Notice I included offer due dates. Because sometimes they say we're not taking offers until next Tuesday, right? So I would include that information. I included the disclosure links where they had them. I included other comments. And these are copies of the RPR reports that show all of the comparables around the property before I show it. And then I shared this sheet with the buyer. So because, I was busy, there are a lot of them. This is a way I use to organize it.
Michael, does the client need to have Excel in order to read your sheets?
No,
Thank you.
they need a Google account.
Perfect, thank you.
Right, and if they don't want it and they're not into it, my guys were Cisco executives and they really like this. Depends on where you are. But I'm just sharing, this is what I would do. And I find it really useful for me to create Google events. By the way, for showing, and a lot of them, there's software built into the MLS now for scheduling showings. And it'll create a calendar event, and it just works a whole lot better than me printing out a list and giving it to them, and we driving around trying to all end up at the same place.
The other question is, does RPR include the other MLSs?
Yeah.
When you do search in there?
RPR has information about Georgetown, Texas.
That's what I thought. So you could use that also in a similar way.
It does it not as elegantly. It creates PDFs.
Yeah, I come from tech, so I can think of how to maneuver it in.
Well, but why don't you just use the MLS? It gives you, I don't know. I use RPR at this stage only for running comparables and giving you, that's all that I do. The MLS, because it updates every 15, RPR doesn't update that quickly. And there's glitches. Sometimes I find properties that the MLS, it's an active listing, but RPR doesn't know it's an active listing. Not yet.
You're absolutely right. And I found things in RPR. You're absolutely right on both sides. I see everything you're saying.
Yeah.
I sometimes will look there just to make sure I haven't missed anything.
Yeah.
Quick question. I don't want to interrupt your class. It's great. Compass had something, the head of Compass was saying the other day that they're keeping about 70 to 75% of their listings in-house as, member no shows. Is there a way for us to get around that? I mean, they're not even putting it on, they're just keeping them as in-house. Are there ways that we could retrieve those if they're not on the MLS?
So,
Thank you.
First of all, I don't think they're doing that yet. They're threatening because
No, they are doing. I watched it. It was on CNBC. He was on in a
I
show.
don't know if that's in California. The clear cooperation rule is still in effect. And so so first of all, EXP has exclusives. And I do not believe that 75% of Compass's listings are exclusive. I don't care what he says. I don't believe it. If you are a seller, what is your goal? And your goal is to get the most money possible when you sell your house. How would you do that? Expose the property to the greatest number of potentially qualified buyers. Oh, but we only want people from my office to sell it. That's all. Only our buyers can buy it. Why would a seller agree to that? What's in it for them? Oh, we know what's in it for Compass. Because
the way you're laying it out, you're exactly right.
Right.
But I'm just saying this is what was said, and I just was wondering.
I'm just saying, don't believe everything you hear. All right, don't because
Okay.
EXP has an exclusives as well, but EXP, our CEO, has come out and said we believe in the clear cooperation rule, and we don't think it ought to be changed. Compass has said we don't believe in it because they want to double in transactions, but that is unlikely to produce the best result for their client. And if you're representing a seller, you have a fiduciary duty to the seller to get them the highest price under the best terms possible, not a duty to give yourself and your agents a shot at a property and exclude others from it. That is not a fiduciary,
No,
that-
you're absolutely right. That's why I'm asking you, because you're always so knowledgeable, because they have investors and they have been losing money. And so that's why he didn't say it like that, but that was how I came away, was that it had nothing to do with agents or sellers or buyers. It was that they want to double in to bring more revenue their way.
And Compass lost 550 million in 2021. 550, 2021 was the best year ever in real estate, and they lost $550 million. They lost over $600 million in 2022. Their model has issues. And yeah, I can understand that they're feeling pressure because how, yeah, you can have a tech company and lose money, but if you couldn't make money in 2021 in real estate, you can't make money. Right. And when sellers figure out that they're not getting all the exposure, why not let Compass's investors could still buy the property if it was on the MLS? But so could other investors. There's nothing in it for the seller unless they're, it's a secret, we're sick, we don't want to put it, but it's a very, very small minority of sellers that would want to do that. It isn't in their best interest. All right.
Sorry, I didn't mean investors as far as buying. I meant the people that are putting the money in the company. I'll shush.
I did understand that. I just forgot when I said the last thing. But the issue is that the seller, there's no reason for the seller to do this. And I do not believe that may be their plan so that they can make more money, but they're not going to make more money by doing this. Right, because
so then we'll educate and know that in the background. We'll know that so that we can educate. We know more eyes bring usually more buyers and a higher price.
Well, of course it does. This is what I say to sellers. You have a Van Gogh painting, right? You have two options. One, you could talk to somebody who knows people that like to buy expensive paintings. And maybe they would find somebody and they would make you an offer. Huh? Other is we hold an auction. We put it in all over the media. We promote it like heck, and we get hundreds of interested art buyers to show up. Which system is going to get you the best price for your painting? And when they say, well, obviously having everybody show up at the auction is better. Right. Because all of those people, those secret buyers that Compass has, that might want to buy it, they also would be able to bid as well. You're not excluding anybody. Their system excludes the majority of buyers. And our system includes all the buyers. And which do you think would be better to sell your home at the highest price in the shortest period of time? That's enough for me. I've gone on too long. Any other comments other than asking me to diss Compass? I'm willing to. Boy, I'm willing to, but all right.
And Michael, I didn't ask the question in a mean way. I was trying to get educated because you're so smart, and I think you know the other brokerages. No, I'm not brown nosing. When I don't know something, I have no problem saying it. But I need to know, how do I level not just myself, but our firm against that type, where they're promoting private sale and we're more open, open to everybody.
This is what I would say to a buyer. If a buyer said to me, well, I hear the Compass has properties that they don't put on the MLS, and I said, okay, that's fine. Why don't you do this then? You get a Compass agent and you sign a buyer representation agreement that is limited to only non-MLS properties that are held. These are called pocket listings by Compass. That's it. That's your only agreement with them, is that if you buy one of those, they get paid. But then you also sign one with me that says, I'm going to cover everything else. And we'll see who finds you the right home first.
Thank you. You just gave me everything I needed. Thank you.
I rarely hear that, but I'm glad I did. All right, so that's probably it. Okay. have a great day for everybody. Stay, dry if you can. And tomorrow we're having at 8:00 a.m. Place is having a meeting. Those of you that got an email about this, it also included that. It's a great meeting. You're all invited. Check it out. Love to see you there. Bye, everyone.
Thank you,
Michael-
Michael.
Thank you so
Michael, will
much.
you do your shareable? It was not downloadable in the chat.
My shareable. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Let me get it again. Unless somebody has a copy of it right now. Let me stop this.